There's a true story reported by the BBC about a 9-year-old boy who was found imprisoned in a garden shed. He'd been there from the time he was 2 until he was now 9. A neighbor heard him crying and called the police. And sadly, because he'd been denied the nurturing relationships every child needs during their formative years, he was never, ever able to fully recover. Truly sad. I begin with this painful story because it reminds us of something deeply human. We cannot mature without being seen, respected, held, and loved. In today's Feast of the Holy Trinity is a celebration of all celebrations, the celebration that we are included in the very life of God forever. Included in the community of love, included in the family of love that we call Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The Trinity is not a mystery to be solved, a problem to be solved. It's a mystery to be entered into, to be experienced in depth. It's a mystery of relationship, communion, and love. And it never excludes. Jesus ties us all together as one family when he says, "What you do to the least of my sisters and brothers, you do to me." So today we give thanks for being unconditionally included in this family of love. And we ask forgiveness for the times we have excluded others from our compassionate love, just as recently pointed out by Pope Leo XIV concerning the way we treated people who were not Christians and were treated as infidels and nobodies. He apologized for them, for the whole church. The painful reality we see around us is what happens when people are denied the nurture and respect they need to live. It happens when peaceful protesters are all labeled negatively. It happens when people without necessary papers are reduced to one word, one label, one category, dismissed. It happens when all law enforcement officers are judged as if they were all the same, even though many are trying under difficult circumstances to act with respect. It happens when race becomes a reason to distrust one another. Can we do not deny that too often we see things as other than ourselves? And we deny that we're sometimes not nurtured. We all suffer when this is missing. I'm not making a political statement here, I'm making a gospel statement. What you do to the least of my sisters and brothers, you do to me. Last week, I celebrated Mass and heard confessions in the 1,500-bed detainee center in Baldwin, Michigan. I was with men and women separated from their families, living in deep pain, not knowing what their future might be, whether they'd ever see their family, children again. My friends, our church teaches that a nation does have the right to control its borders. I'm not denying that. But I find it hard to believe that we, as a nation, cannot come to a policy that respects both the control of the borders and the words of Jesus. What you do to the least of my sisters and brothers, you do to me. Do our fears sometimes make us step away from what it means to be truly human? Do they cause us to see others as less than sisters and brothers? When I think of fear becoming out of control, I remember in 1971 when I was administrator of a parish and I found myself on the office floor with a shotgun at the back of my head. Someone broke in trying to rob. At that moment, I prayed that the person holding this shotgun in the back of my head, which I could feel, would not go out of control and pull the trigger. Fear can do terrible things to the human heart. Fear can make us forget who we are. Fear can make us forget who others are. Fear can make us forget that every person belongs to this family of God called the Trinity. Like the young boy in the BBC story, some people have been shamefully denied the nurturing relationships and basic human respect they need. We all know that. As members of the family of God, as people included in the love of the Holy Trinity, we are challenged to stand up non-violently, but stand up against injustice and prejudice. We are challenged day after day to see as God sees, to see beyond labels, beyond fear, beyond race, status, papers, uniforms, and categories. To see the person, to see the brother, to see the sister, to see Christ. Because we are forever in the community of love, forever in the family of love, forever included in this Holy Trinity of love. What you do to the least of my brothers and sisters, you do to me. Let's hear that one more time. What you do to the least of my sisters and brothers, you do to me.